Shalom Israel. This is GMS Battle Axe. My name is Ramak. First of all, I'd like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the elders that rule well. Those be the elders of GMS. And salutations to all the brothers out there spreading the word in truth and sincerity. Today I'd like to do a lesson on Babylon's, aka America's, allies coming against her. And I'll just get straight into it. Revelations 13:1. This is John speaking. He saw a vision. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having said 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads a name of blasphemy. And here's a diagram or a picture of that great whore Babylon sitting on top of the beast with the seven heads and his 10 horns. Now those 7 heads are Nato, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which America is part of, along with European countries, including Germany and France and Spain. And the 10 horns are the European Union, which are really subdivisions of those heads, including countries like Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, United Kingdom. And if you've been watching the news, a big thing going on over there with Ukraine is America wants Ukraine to be a part of the European Union, but Russia is pulling Ukraine towards itself because that used to be USSR territory. So I just want to go to a couple articles, maybe, given the scenario of how the Nato, the European Union, could break up, and America's allies could go against it, and it's really plain, and I could see it happening, because it's going to happen. The allies are going to come against America. This is a possible scenario that the author of this article, Putin is a pawn of the bankers. It's on the website, The Common Sense Show. I got up on this website by watching Elder Gabar, and I just want to read this excerpt if I could find it again. I start down here. Second, Putin is threatening to become the main supplier of energy on the planet. With the consummation of a recent gas deal between the Russians and the Chinese, he made a deal with the Chinese for gas, and he's about to do one with India. Let me continue reading. Putin is undermining the control of energy that the central banks have enjoyed since the early days of the creation of Saudi Arabia to oversee oil production. Putin is spitting in the face of the Federal Reserve and the other G7 central banks by encouraging Iran to sell its oil for gold, and that's what's going to start this war. That's what's already starting it. You have something called BRICS, which is BRICS. You can look it up. B standing for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. And they are trying to trade for oil by using gold, which is against America's wishes, which is against the big bankers' wishes. Well, let me just continue reading. This is turning international finance on its head. Putin also has enough of a military presence, along with nuclear weapons, to stave a direct conventional invasion of his country. And can't nobody mess with Russia like that because they have nuclear weapons that they are eventually going to use. Putin has positioned himself to control the energy needs of Europe, as the Europeans will be forced to choose between heating their homes or remaining a military ally of the U.S. This will eventually lead to a disintegration of Nato, thus enhancing Putin's military power by comparison. And what he is talking about is what's going on in Ukraine right now. What they won't tell you on the news is that it's about gas. 66% of Russian gas that is exported transits through Ukraine. Here's a dialogue on another article on the same website. The name of the article is Putin Could Win World War III Without Firing a Shot. And by getting Ukraine, you already see here that Germany, France, and Italy already have a good percentage. What is shown is the percentage of oil that is imported from Russia And by taking over Ukraine, Russia would be able to decide whether they want to take the dollar, which they're not going to do. They're going to decide which currency they want to charge for the gas or the energy that goes through Europe. Excuse me. I'll read just a little part of this article right here. 66% of exported Russian natural gas and oil run through Ukraine. When Ukraine is firmly in the hands of Russia, Putin will hold the trump card over a large portion of European energy needs. How generous is Putin feeling? Putin's energy trump card lies in the fact that he can charge almost whatever he wants for gas being shipped into Europe. And that's going to be a game changer. That possibly, that's what this lesson is about, a possible scenario that could amp up the disintegration of Nato in the European Union and America's allies coming against them. Let me continue reading. Some are speculating that Putin will use a classic divide and conquer strategy to drive a wedge between European interests and that of the United States. Imagine the following scenario for a moment. Putin informs the European Union that he will no longer accept the dollar, i.e. the world's reserve currency, as an acceptable form of currency from which to purchase their Russian imported energy products. This will have a crippling effect on the dollar and thus the American economy. That will kill the dollar, and that'll be a way to start a whole bunch of ruckus over here in America, which is to come, the riots and the famine and the pestilences and everything else. Continue reading. If Putin does refuse to accept the dollar as payment from Europe for its gas, what effect would that have on the NATO alliance? Will France, Italy, and Germany succumb to Putin's coming blackmail? And will the Europeans choose economic solvency over military alliances? Well, the scriptures tell us that America's allies will go against it. So I say the Europeans are going to choose economic solvency if this scenario was to play out. I would strongly suggest that the Europeans, and the author of this article is about to give his opinion, I would strongly suggest that the Europeans would choose economic solvency. As a result, NATO will be permanently fractured. So, all of these heads of this beast and these horns are going to come against that great whore Babylon. Finna slap that bitch up, and they're going to send them nukes over here to burn this bitch up. And 1/3 of blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to get out of this shit, and 2/3 of you are going to die with this whore. But let me go to the back to the scriptures. This is Revelations chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And how are they going to do that? All of those countries are going to send them nukes up in the air. Yahweh Shai is going to make it happen. They're going to make this place desolate, a desert. Here's another scripture about Obadiah 1:7. All the men of your confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So it's saying all those that ate bread with America, all those who America had peace with, they are not going to come against America, because America is a worthless piece of shit right now. This great whore Babylon. That's how a whore is. You get what you can get out of her, and then the bitch you dismissed. Slap the bitch up, really. But continuing on, last scripture I want to do, Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk enough of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that's exactly what's happening before our eyes. So back to these articles on the CommonSenseShow.com, and that's what it's talking about, man. NATO and European Union being jeopardized by what's going on in Ukraine right now. That's what it's all about. That's why it's a big thing on your TV screens if you're watching the news. I'm positive the elect are watching it. And With that, I want to. That'll be the end of my lesson. You can read these articles if you want to. Again, they on Common Sense, thecommonsenseshow.com. And with that, I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders of GMS, and shalom to the brothers out there spreading the word in truth and sincerity.